Good evening, everyone. Welcome to At Lafayette Live for Monday, January 27th, 2025. How's everybody doing out there in the real world today? Enjoy your Monday back to work today. It's really blowing out there. I think we were supposed to have gusts up to like 50 and 60 miles per hour, and it's been averaging around 20 to 30 out of the, I believe, west-southwest. So it's awfully warm here, not a sign of winter in view anywhere. All the snow is melting or melted. Not much winter out there. It's actually rather warm. It's in the 40s today. So that's what's going on here in Lafayette. What's going on around the world where you guys are watching from? Where are you watching from? If you're sitting in front of your computer, drop into the chat and let me know where you're watching from. I know a lot of people watching in front of their TVs or on other devices. If you're in front of a phone or a tablet or a computer, though, you can drop into the chat and let me know where you are watching from. Are you here in the Lafayette area or from somewhere else around the country? It's always fun to see where people are watching from. And if you're watching from your TV, just wave hi at us to your TV. Yeah. So I got to tell you, there are some weeks where I go to do my prep for the show, and there's not a whole lot that has gone on here in the Greater Lafayette area. Sometimes there's always something going on, but as far as the news that we're looking to talk about, development-related news, real estate-related news, good things happening around the community, there are just some weeks that there is less rather than more. Oh, excuse me. But this is not one of those weeks. There is a ton of stuff that has gone on here in the Greater Lafayette area in the last 2 weeks. We were off last Monday for Martin Luther King Day, so it's been 2 weeks since we've had a broadcast, a webcast, a live stream. But quite honestly, quite a lot of that has taken place in the last week. So it's not like we're backed up from 2 weeks. It's just been a very, very busy week around here. And I don't know if you're feeling that in your lives, but I tell you what, I kind of feel that way as well. January has been not quiet, but not super busy either. It kind of feels like a little bit of the quiet of the holidays still lingering and kind of taking care of one thing at a time instead of 10 things at a time. But now that the calendar is getting ready to tick over into February later this week, it feels like the pace has really started to pick up. I don't know if you guys are feeling that, but I am in my personal life, in my business life, in my real estate life, but also here on At Lafayette Live. So let's dig into it. And we're going to mix it up. We try to stick with, the good news and the positive news. We don't do the old news things of if it bleeds, it leads. But not all development news is positive. And I bet a lot of homeowners here in Indiana and in the Greater Lafayette area have seen or heard about this one. And if you haven't, I'm going to take you through this one. This one's worth going through a little bit step by step. So we're going to take a few minutes on this one. But AARP came out in a town hall last week and revealed that they have studies that show that the average property tax bill here in Indiana is going to go up 7% this year. And the state house, the legislature is currently in session. So if you're a homeowner here in Indiana, in the Greater Lafayette area, the amount that you pay per year for taxes for services, that's what pays for our roads and pays for our libraries and all the things along those lines, schools, everything that we use, they're important, but they're going up. But the legislature wants to look at that. So here's the data that I want to walk through. They're showing that on average, those who are living in a home as their primary home, or they're taking the homestead deduction, it's going to go up 7% statewide when bills are sent out for the spring payment. Now, if you've got a mortgage, you're paying for that as part of your monthly mortgage payment. That money is getting escrowed away into an account, and it's getting automatically paid for you. Those of you who own your house outright or don't have a mortgage or are paying for it in some other way, you're taking care of that yourself. Now, that kind of sounds like a lot, but we should also put it a little bit in perspective. Larry DeBoer, who's an emeritus professor of agricultural economics here at Purdue University, said that homesteads in the last 2 years went up 17.1% and 6.6%. So that 7% is a whole lot more than zero, but it is a lot less than 17.1%. Something else to keep in mind, Indiana's property taxes are the 44th lowest as of 2022. But then last year the year after in 2023, we dropped to 33rd. So we're still in about the 60th percentile as far as how cheap our taxes are. We're definitely in the bottom half of the percentile brackets when it comes to property taxes. So that's good. We always tout our state as being, a low cost of living state, but there is also the other perspective is, what are you getting for your money, and are we paying enough money to get the things that we need and that our community needs, that our families need, our kids, our senior citizens, our veterans, our programs for those that need help? Are those being funded in a way that actually help the people that they're targeted to help, or are they being funded in a way that the money is just not enough, and so therefore what's there is really just being wasted because we're not actually solving the problem? I don't know on any of the specific issues, but it's a question worth asking, I think. Another interesting piece of data out of this report is that the deductions that are homestead deductions, that they are kind of shift the burden elsewhere. There are three kind of pools of tax revenue. There's homestead, what we're talking about here, taxes on your primary home. Farmers, there's no doubt farmers are super important. They put the food on our table and on tables worldwide, sometimes directly, sometimes indirectly. A lot of our corn here in Indiana actually goes into feed that feeds the cows and other livestock that we eat. And finally, business. It used to be split evenly, about a third each, between homeowners, business owners, and farmers. But because of all the things that have gone on as far as shifting taxes around, and I would think that Indiana has a reputation of being a very tax-friendly state as far as tax burden to businesses, and we read all the time about tax abatements and deferments for business. Currently, homeowners are carrying about 45% of the tax burden, where it used to be 33%. So the legislature is looking at this. There's a number of legislators that have talked about various ideas about how to reform the system. I don't think anybody's talking about throwing the baby out with the bathwater. So reform only from the perspective of edit the system, trimming along the edges, not throwing everything out. There are a couple of different bills and numbers floating around out there, but one of them scares me. And I think it should scare everybody, and I think that we should run, not walk away from this. One bill is that's going to be heard this week in the Tax and Fiscal Policy Committee, is Senate Bill 6, which authorizes counties to create a property tax deferral program. It would allow, if it passed by both the Senate and the House, it would allow a homeowner to defer up to $500 of their property tax bill each year, with a maximum cumulative amount of $10,000. Individual counties would be able to decide who is eligible, and maybe have an income limitation. They decide what that mechanism is. But here's why I say you should run, not walk away from this. The deferral becomes a lien on the property and must be satisfied if the property is transferred or sold, and sit down, there will be annual interest of 4%. So if you own your home and you put these taxes into deferral, if you put $500 into deferral and then you decide you want to sell the house, you're going to pay that $500 plus APR of 4%. So $20 on that $500. And if you let it accrue, $400 over the maximum accrual of $10,000. So if you couldn't afford it to begin with, now you're going to afford it when you sell a property. And if you don't sell the property but just continue to not be able to afford your taxes, I think that's just putting homeowners, individual homeowners that are already stretched thin, into a world of hurt. The intention is probably good, deferring taxes, letting people have a little more time to pay, but I see quickly that snowballing and getting out of hand. And then what do we turn into? Those liens are legal ownership over claims of rights to property. And if you go to sell and the state or the county is like, no, you owe us that money, theoretically you could pay that money through your proceeds. But if you don't have a lot of equity in your home, or forbid, you're upside down on your home, the money's not there. So if you can make a profit, then you could take some of your proceeds and pay those back taxes. But I don't think that this is a road that the state should be looking at. And if you're a homeowner and this comes into law, you should find any other way to pay your income taxes, pay your property taxes than this deferment program. This is only one suggestion out of many. And who knows what will actually make it through the legislative process this year. It could be that absolutely nothing makes it through the legislative process and we kick the can down the road and we just deal with our 7% increase. And maybe that kicks us to the 25th cheapest tax rate in the country. Or maybe we stay the same because everybody else rises at 7% or more. Something to pay attention to. More to come. Definitely more to come this week, and more to come in the next 60 days or so as we work through the legislative season here. So be paying attention to that one. What do you guys think? If you're here watching live, drop a comment down in the chat. Do you have any feelings? What feelings do you have about property taxes going up, and what should we do? And if you're watching this later, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Hit the like and subscribe button. Tell YouTube how much you enjoy all of our videos here on the Lafayette Reel. And thanks for joining us every Monday at 7 o'clock on At Lafayette Live. Brought to you by Geoff Gooch Realty with the Russell team, powered by At Properties. We're here every Monday at 7 o'clock. Next up, Indianapolis Motor Speedway has honored the director of Purdue bands, Jay Gephardt. Jay has been the director of Purdue bands for about 19 years, I believe, as the Al G. Wright chair of bands and orchestras, and then has also been leading the All-American Marching Band. He is stepping down from his role as director of the All-American Marching Band. He will continue on as the chair of bands and orchestras, and continue to work with ensembles, especially the wind ensemble, which he has a special love for. But Jay Gephardt's a really, really cool guy. I'm fortunate to know him fairly well. He's never been anything but an upstanding gentleman, great to work with, great stories about people that you just wouldn't believe, through his encounters through bands and through football and halftime shows. And he's got some really, really great stories. And most importantly, he has a great outlook on many of them. There have been times where I've gotten to commiserate with him about somebody, and maybe somebody I didn't care for so much, and maybe had a reputation of not being such a great person. And he had nothing but positive things to say. It's just that he finds the best in everybody. But they have honored him with a brick at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So congratulations to Jay Gephardt. It's in the Pagoda Plaza. So next time that you're down there, if you're heading down for the Indianapolis 500 this year in May, if you're there for practice or carb day, go check out Jay's brick and give it a little wave hello. So that's some great news there about a great man here in our local community. Works for Purdue University, lives here in the Greater Lafayette area, and really does a lot for our community. Congratulations, Jay. Hit the like and subscribe button. Don't miss a minute of everything that we do here on the Lafayette Reel. Next up, I'm going to get this one up in front of me. I got a couple of these. Tippecanoe County has been awarded a $25 million grant to continue to develop the greenway along the Wabash River that connects Lafayette and West Lafayette. There is going to be a new pedestrian bridge that is going to be north of the existing pedestrian bridge. It's going to connect roughly around where the old Lafayette Municipal Golf Course was and go over to the other side. I thought that I had a cool map of it here, but I don't think that... Oh, here it is. Let me pull the images up. This is pretty cool. This is going to be the proposed pedestrian bridge. I'm sure it was subject to change, but let's have a look. So there's some shade structures built into the bridge. You can actually stop and look over the river here. I thought that was pretty cool. I need to bring up my pointer. Let me get that going. Sorry about that. I think that's the right one. Yep, that's much better. So they're going to build the bridge between south of, I'm going to mispronounce this, Mascoutin Park, near where Happy Hollow Road meets North River Road on the West Lafayette side. And on the Lafayette side, the bridge is going to connect with the Hobbit. The Hobbit. I wanted to say the Hobbit. I don't know why. I guess I was thinking of the Shire when I think of this. With the Wabash Heritage Trail between Leibolt Park and McAllister Park. And like I said, where the former Lafayette Municipal Golf Course was. Wabash River Enhancement Corp's been kind of buying up property along in there so that they can get this going. Here's the map. Let me bring that up. So here's the new bridge all the way down here, down at the bottom of McAllister Park. And then you can see River Road. So it's going to connect to all of the existing trails that are there. So you could, if you wanted, make the big loop and hit the trail here over the new bridge, and then go up to the new trail that currently connects Lafayette and West Lafayette over the highway bridge there. So pretty cool there. The time frame for that, it's still a couple of years in the future. I got to buy up one more house to make this happen. There's going to be some parking spots so that people can get close to the trailheads. Trying to see, I thought I had a note here on when. Here we go. They don't have the exact timeline yet, but they're expecting this to be designed and built by 2032. So that's about 7 years away to have this project complete. So it's kind of still in the middle range future. It's not tomorrow. It's not 30 years from now. So it will come. It just isn't like super soon. So I thought that was a pretty cool project coming to the Lafayette area. Next up, going on here in the Greater Lafayette area, the city of Lafayette hosted the grand opening of their new $21.5 million public works campus. It is over on it's not the east side of town. It's over on south side of McCarty Lane, and it's absolutely beautiful on the inside. Here, let me bring this up. Here's a photo of it. They're going to actually be able to get all of their sanitation equipment, all of their streets equipment, all of their roads equipment all in one place. It's currently spread all over Lafayette and, locations that have been around for decades and decades and decades. So they're going to have one central location. It's going to make it a lot easier, to work on the trucks. It's going to make it a lot easier for staff call-outs where everybody's going to separate places. It's all going to be in one place. The main building has 117,000 square feet. The streets department and fleet maintenance takes up the majority of that at 92,000 square feet. The sanitation department has a separate 16,000 square foot building to store up to 18 trash trucks. They currently have 16, so look for the city to be increasing the number of trash trucks in the not too distant future, I would imagine. And then fleet maintenance size that is 3 times the size of their current facilities. Get this, 24 service bays, and they have the space is equipped with a lift that is big enough and a ceiling tall enough to service a Lafayette Fire Department aerial truck. I don't have a picture of this repair bay, but I would sure like to see it with an aerial ladder truck on top of it. I just think that sounds so cool. They've got a vehicle lift that's big enough for a big fire truck. There's a car wash, vehicle wash, truck wash. And there's also an additional 15 acres next to the building. So if they decide that they need more space in the future, they'll be able to grow without having to move again. And in addition to that, why they were making this ribbon cutting, they also announced 2 new electric trash and recycling trucks adding to its fleet with side loaders. So more trash trucks, more electric trash trucks. How you doing on this Monday evening? Everybody having fun? Staying warm? Like I said, it's not too cold outside. Go to the LafayetteReal.com/YouTube. I have a graphic for that. I thought that I had. Oh, I do. /YouTube. And fill out the form. And let me know how I can help you with home here in the Greater Lafayette area. Next up, I told you there's a lot going on here in the Greater Lafayette area in the last couple of weeks. Last time that we were together, I talked about auxiliary dwelling units, ADUs, granny shacks, mother-in-law cottages, call it what you will, in West Lafayette. The city council have called 2 public meetings to have discussions about the future of these possibilities in West Lafayette. One of them's in the past. One of them's already happened. But the next one, the second one, is going to be Wednesday, February 12th at 6 p.m. in the council chambers at Marjoram City Hall. So if you want to give your input or hear what your neighbors are saying about ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units in West Lafayette, you should attend this public forum and go voice your opinion. They're hoping to promote open dialogue and have some small group discussions. And this is what local government at its best is supposed to be, I think. something was brought up to city council, people were like, whoa, wait a minute. What? We want to, before you guys move forward on this, we have some things to say. We want to think about it. The city council said, yeah, you're right. Let's do that. And so they're doing it. And so if you were one of the ones that said, whoa, we want to talk about this, here's your opportunity. Go talk about it with your elected representatives in local government. Don't just howl about it on Facebook and hopefully here on the comments here on At Lafayette Live, but go to this meeting and let them know. The Area Plan Commission is also going to be in attendance, and they're actually a really great group of guys. I know a couple of them, and they want to do what's best for the community, and by that I mean for the members of the community. They're out there acting on our behalf. They really are. There are a lot of points of view out there. What I think, what you think, what my neighbor thinks, what your neighbor thinks might be completely different things. So they have to take all of that in balance, but they do a really, I think, good job of trying to do that. And so if you want to say something, you should go to this open forum Wednesday, February 12th, 6 p.m., Council Chambers, Marjoram City Hall, and give your opinion on auxiliary dwelling units in West Lafayette. Hit the like and subscribe button. Tell YouTube how much you enjoy all of our videos. And we put out new videos almost every day here on the Lafayette Reel. All sorts of things, fun things to do in the Lafayette areas, great home tours of really fascinating homes, neighborhood information, quick getaways, all sorts, everything that you need to know about the Greater Lafayette area. If you've never been to Artists' Own Art Gallery, you're really missing out. This is an art gallery in downtown Lafayette, and they have an annual high school art show, and it's currently open. It opened about a week ago on January 19th, and it runs until February 15th. And they've been running this show for 16 years. And it's a juried show is probably not right, but it's by application, and they got over 120 applications this year, and they have 40 works in mediums, including sculpture, photography, multimedia, painting, and give these high school students a chance to showcase their work in a real public art gallery. So you should go check that out. Artists' Own Art Gallery Student Show. I'm going to keep this moving. I got a lot to talk about. A lot. I'm going to read the headline for this one. Lafayette's USPS branch debuts advanced sorting and delivery center. I love the post office. Always have. Hopefully, always will. Nationally, it's been an organization that's unfortunately been embroiled in a lot of controversy and conversation amongst regarding change and what their current leadership wants to do, what the current leadership is doing, and what that trickle-down effect is actually having on our communities. And there's a lot of negativity about the post office. That being said, I have some really good friends who are postal carriers, and we should not take it out on them. They are out there doing the hard work. The old saying that we all learn in school, no, nor sleet, nor rain, nor snow, whatever it might be. They are actually out there living that and doing that every day. So I love the post office, but hopefully this news helps. There are 124 carrier routes here in the Greater Lafayette area that start. They've hubbed them all at the main post office there on 26. They serve almost 197,000 customers daily. The Lafayette branch is now home to one of the USPS's 83 brand new state-of-the-art sorting and delivery centers. They've put in this giant new machine, and it is a beast. In the past, this location was able to sort between 300 and 500 packages per hour. Supposedly, this new machine can sort around 5,000 packages per hour. So that is a whole lot more packages. Hopefully that increases our mail delivery efficiency here in the Greater Lafayette area. And, I think we'll be interested to see how that happens, because the bottle, can things get sorted in the sorting facility and then get out to the end user, to you and me? We have to support the carrier. The carrier is still that last mile, that last link in the chain. And as part of that, they are getting their new vehicles called the Next Generation Delivery Vehicle. And unfortunately, I don't have a picture of it here. I really should. I was focused on the sorting center, not the vehicle. A lot of people have laughed at these vehicles. They do look a little silly, admittedly, with their proportions, but they are they're really cool. Here are some of the improvements. Number one, air conditioning. That's right. Your postal carrier doesn't have air conditioning. So when it's 95 degrees and what feels like 1,000,000% humidity out there in the middle of summer, and your postal carrier drives by your mailbox, they're dying in those old cars, in those old trucks, which date from, I believe their oldest one is from 1987. So that's 38 years old now. They, of course, have cameras. They have some additional lights, and all the newfangled stuff that you're going to find on modern cars is on these modern postal trucks. So I think that's pretty cool. But I think these sound maybe a little silly, but I'm told that by the specs are now the seats can now sit somebody anywhere between 5 foot and 6'4" comfortably. And according to the USPS, that is between the 5th and the 95th percentile of our population in height. So our postal carriers are going to be able to be a lot more comfortable in the seats in their postal trucks, and they're going to be able to have air conditioning. So I'm all for that. They're supposed to have more cargo space. So they're going to be able to deliver more of our Amazon packages. And so they're expanding the fleet of those, as well as their electric delivery trucks, which they say have already done 40,000 miles here in the Greater Lafayette area. So great improvements coming to our local postal service. Giant new sorting machine in the central post office here in town. They're getting new trucks. I hope it improves our service locally. We'll see how it goes. But regardless of how it goes, be kind, be friendly to your local postal worker, your local postal carrier. They work hard. I'm going to comment that more informative than WLFI. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate that, and I am sad about that at the same time. I am fortunate. This is going to tie into my next story. I promise. It was perfect. It's a perfect segue. Glad I was able to catch that comment. I am fortunate to count in a group of friends a lot of former WLFI staffers, most of them behind the scenes technical types, directors, technical directors, producers, shooters, that sort of thing. But I actually I won't go so far as to say friends, but acquaintances with a couple of on-camera personalities, people that you would that you would recognize. And I'm not going to drop their names because I'm not saying any of that to brag or anything like that. I only say that to say that I see what's going on at our local news outlets, and I, much like the post office, I would say that it is not those people. Those people are working their tails off. They're doing their best. That unfortunately, WLFI, our local TV station, is facing the same pressures that every local media outlet across the country is facing in a media landscape that has changed since when we were younger. And these corporations that have bought them up are, facing a financial reality. We have a fixation as a society, and this is going off on a tangent a little bit. I'll come back home here in just a second, I promise. We are focused on quarterly results. Full stop. That's what we as a society care about. The stock market, quarterly results. Because it is what, without saying, this is not pejoratively, that is what big business cares about, because they are owned by their shareholders. They have a fiduciary responsibility to their shareholders to return a profit to their shareholders. We, the shareholders, whether we are stockholders individually, and some of us, have a share of Disney stock or a share of, whatever stock you might, have for fun. But most of us actually do hold shares of stock in our retirement portfolios, in our 401ks and our various investment vehicles, whether you work for a company that offers a 401k or work for Purdue University that offers an investment program that I can't remember the number of, but is essentially the public education version of 401k. Those investment companies hold giant stock portfolios. And so we want to see our retirement portfolio go up and up and up. Of course we do. I mean, who wouldn't want to? I mean, that's what we're taught, and that's what the entire system is predicated on. So these businesses at the end of the day are driven by quarterly results. The downside to that is, of course, that, the quarterly results mean that they have to eke more and more profit out. And the fact of that matter has dripped down to our local media market again. And here's where I wrap this up and come home and the actual story that I wanted to talk about. I'm going to read Dave Bangert's headline. I love Dave, based in Lafayette, and I'm sorry for lovingly ripping you off, Dave, but it really encapsulates the story so well. WLFI meteorologist Chad Evans faces layoff in Allen Media's long-distance approach to weather. So Allen Media is a holding company that owns, I believe it's around 30-some local broadcast stations around the country. I think they actually own 3 here in Indiana, at least 3. Here in WLFI, here in the Greater Lafayette area, I believe they own a station in Fort Wayne and in Terre Haute, as well as 30 or some others around the country. But they also own the Weather Channel. And in a nod to cost savings, they've decided that they're going to hub or centralize their weather forecasting for all of their local stations out of the Weather Channel down in the Atlanta area. And they are perhaps going to bring some of the local meteorologists that currently work for them to Atlanta. They haven't said who or how many, and the local meteorologists haven't said if they actually want to do this. As we all know, and I'm stating the obvious here, weather is an intensely local phenomenon. I actually grow grapes. Right, you can't see them. They're right outside this window here. Well, not right outside the window. They're much, but I have grapes out here. And I am a very, very amateur student of the weather, largely because of those grapes that are growing out there. And we really do here where I live in the Greater Lafayette area. No joke, I have this little microclimate that's almost a microclimate inside of our own local microclimate here in the Greater Lafayette area. And when you are lucky to have somebody like Chad Evans, who I count as an acquaintance, we're kind of, we have a lot of friends in common sort of thing. I'm not hanging out in his living room or anything by any means, but I have friends that are. He's a great guy. On a personal level, he's a great guy. On a professional level, he's a great guy. He gives a lot of care and passion, blood, sweat, and tears, if you will, into his weather forecasts. And, they are weather forecasts, and, giant planetary systems do change. So, sometimes weathermen get it wrong. But the amount of knowledge, I mean, he's a true scientist. He really is. The amount of knowledge that he pours into that is just can't be replaced by somebody who's not in town and doesn't understand, when the crops are up, this is going to influence that. And we've got this bluff over here on the Wabash River and how the systems come in and all of these things that, like, again, as an amateur student of the weather, like, I don't even begin to have the expert understanding that somebody like Chad Evans does. So, but it's not just Chad, it's all of these weather forecasters across the Allen media system. Now, I will say there's an article that popped up on Friday from I'm not a journalist, I'm a realtor. I can't get double confirmation on this, though. It doesn't feel like it's a real article talking about Allen Media backing off on some of this, but it really lacks in detail. There's not a second source to back any of it up, and it doesn't have, what cities and what people. Allen Media has said nothing. Chad Evans has said nothing. So we hope that there is more to come on that. Chad is a local institution, a local legend. We absolutely love him. But even take the person out of the situation, and it could just be our local weatherman. Doesn't matter who it is. That's a real resource that I think that our community really needs. How do you make that in the year 2025 when, something that is supported by ad revenue? I don't know how much you guys enjoy watching commercials, but I don't. You know how many commercials I watch? Zero. I pay for the streaming services that come without commercials because I absolutely hate commercials. How does somebody like Allen Media make that work in the year 2025? I don't know. I'm not a broadcast holding group CEO, so I don't have the answers to those questions. I love Chad. I wish you all the best. I hope this situation works out for his family, and I hope that the situation works out the best for Lafayette. I will say, I'm not a big keyboard warrior. You'll find me on all the social media things. If you go, they're all linked right here. Heck, if you scan this QR code, it will load it into your phone for you. Go check me out on all the places, and you'll see, I'm trying to do things that are in support of the greater good of our community. I'm not complaining, and I'm not doing those sorts of things. And I'm not trying to pass judgment on people that are. I understand what social media is. It is the town square in 2025, for better or worse. So that's the good and the bad. But I saw a suggestion the other day, and I think it's a great suggestion, but I would like to delve into that just a little bit more. And that suggestion is, hey, Chad, you should go start a YouTube video channel, a blog, whatever it is online, and provide that service. I think that's a great idea. However, I want to stop and ask the question of all of us tonight. I do this for free. What am I bringing? What am I bringing to the table? Again, I'm a realtor. If you love home here in the Greater Lafayette area, I'd love to talk to you. That's how I fund this. That's what this is, right? I'm not hiding that. Look at all this information right here. I'm a realtor. Okay? That's why I'm here. That's how this is supported. That's why At Lafayette Live exists. I love my community. I love Lafayette and West Lafayette and Tippecanoe County. Are there things that I don't love about it? Of course, but I love our community. But I do this so that y'all will call me up to buy and sell houses so that I can put food on the table for my kids. Which brings me back to, yes, somebody like Chad or any of the other meteorologists in any of the other markets that this is happening to should be able to go out on their own and start a business and do that. My question to everybody that's watching, and it's a legitimate question, a real question, and I truly mean it. What are we going to pay per month per user to that person? You should go do this. Yes, he should. But Chad has to put food on the table for his kids, just like the rest of us do. And you got to ask yourself, what are you willing to pay for that? To replace somebody of that talent's salary, just making some guesses. Would you pay $10 a month? At $10 a month, you would need 833 subscribers. Could you get 833 subscribers to pay $10 a month, $120 a year? Maybe. But these are the questions that somebody with that kind of talent has got to ask. And so I love having that resource in the community. I hope that we continue to have that kind of resource in the community. But as those things continue to happen, because this is not the last thing that's going to happen of that type, those sorts of things we're going to have to keep asking ourselves, what is important to us as individuals? We're willing to pay for Netflix. Are we willing to pay for Chad's forecast? Are we willing to pay for Dave Bangert and Made in Lafayette? We should be. All right. Moving on, hit the like and subscribe button. Don't miss a minute of our videos here on At Lafayette Live, brought to you by the Lafayette Reel. So we enjoy having you here all of the time. I told you there's a lot to talk about. I mean, I'm 45 minutes in and I'm still talking about Greater Lafayette news. I don't think we're going to get to our home tours tonight, and I really kind of wanted to. So I'm going to have to package those up as a special presentation probably later this week. I normally shoot for about an hour. Somewhere between half an hour and an hour is kind of what the show normally plays out to be. And I still got 2 more stories to talk about, and that's going to take up our full hour. So let's get to it. The next one, I've been talking a lot in the last year or so about SK Hynix coming to West Lafayette and opening a $3.87 billion facility to manufacture chips. But the state has an incentive package with SK Hynix to bring them here to West Lafayette. But the West Lafayette Redevelopment Commission and the city have not worked out a satisfactory deal with the Indiana Economic Development Corporation. And long story short, what they're trying to do is to get codified everything that we, the citizens of the area of the city, are going to provide to this $4 billion transaction in the years to come. And I think everybody is kind of reading from the same book. We may not all be quite on the same page right now as far as the commission and the company. Hopefully we can get on the same page. But what our representatives are trying to do is make sure that we're not on the hook for things that are beyond the realm of what our community can support. Do we want the economic development? Yes. Do we want to make sure that our interests are protected? Yes. So the vote was tabled back in December. They still have not come to a final agreement on how this exactly is going to work. And I don't think that we have a date yet for when this is going to work out. And I was doing the research for this show over the weekend on Friday and Saturday. There's a lot of times where I'm still working on it on Monday, but I was actually done ahead of time this week. But there was a headline, a blockbuster headline today, that a new AI model out of China was announced. And the blockbuster headline, what really makes it a blockbuster, is the cost of what this model cost. It was in the millions as opposed to the billions. There's still a lot going on around this. Going back to, not a journalist, there's a lot that we're taking on faith. The company has said that this is what they've done. I don't think anybody's actually verified it yet. But the reason that I bring it up and that it is related to this story is one of the reasons that SK Hynix is coming here and all these chip developers are coming to the United States is because of this boom in AI, and companies have been saying that they need to buy billions of dollars worth of chips in the coming years and decades. OpenAI and Google and Meta need chips and chips and chips and chips from NVIDIA. But this announcement today from a company called DeepSeek has rocked the market. NVIDIA, the chip maker, today lost nearly $600 billion in market value. And I'm trying to see, the company said it has only spent $5.6 million on computing model for its base AI model, compared to hundreds of billions of dollars that the U.S. companies have spent on their AI technologies. And if this turns out to be true, I think it could have some trickle-down effects. And they don't have all the I's dotted and T's crossed on this SK Hynix deal. And in the coming days, we're gonna learn more about what this DeepSeek news really is. That if it is completely true, if there are limitations to it, or if it is a true breakthrough moment, and it could completely upend what everybody has thought the need for chips coming in the coming years is going to be. And maybe the fact that this deal is not sealed, it might just kind of flitter away into nothingness. I am not saying that's what's happening. I'm not saying that's going to happen. I'm saying it's a possibility, though. This was a very big deal, and like I said, when I was doing the research on Friday and Saturday to get this show together, the SK Hynix thing on its own was enough to go, yeah, I could see that maybe we won't quite get to the finish line. And then this bombshell of a headline today, on the day of the show, really calls the entire thing into question. So stay tuned. More to come. We will definitely hear a lot more about DeepSeek in the coming hours and days and weeks. We'll see what happens there. So, good news, bad news. I mean, if you're into economic development here in the area, it strikes me as bad news. If the world actually needs less chips, we'll see. One last time, hit the like and subscribe button. Tell YouTube how much you enjoy being here, and don't miss a moment of all of the fun that we have here on the Lafayette Reel. And if you love home here in the Lafayette area, go to thelafayettereel.com/YouTube and let me know how I can help you with home here in the Greater Lafayette area. Sorry, you have to listen to that again. I pushed the wrong button. I was trying to get rid of something. My own. I'm the talent. I'm the director. I'm the producer. I'm not sure I do any of those very, very well, but I'm doing them all. So sometimes I hit the wrong buttons. So I'm going to leave you. Our last bit of news tonight is a bit of good news. Jeopardy! Tournament of Champions to feature Purdue super champion Adrian Harmeyer. So you may recall late last year, Adriana Harmeyer had a 16-episode winning streak and collected a winning total of $351,600. She turned out to be the highest-ranking champion from the last year, so she gets a berth into the Jeopardy! Tournament of Champions. It debuts tonight. I believe in a few minutes here, the tournament premieres, so I need to wrap this up so I can go watch Adriana play against 21 fellow champions that had winning streaks throughout 2024. Like I said, she holds the highest win spot. She's already recorded the tournament and is back home. She won't tell us, she won't tell anyone, of course, what the results are. She's under an embargo on that. But I do like the interview with her. You should go read the interview with Adriana. She talks a lot about like the nerves that everybody had the first time they were at Jeopardy, and now that she's back for this Tournament of Champions and she's surrounded by 20 other returning champions. It's not old hat, but they're all experienced players now, and now they're there and comfortable, and they're cheering each other on, and they're actually getting to watch each other. So I'm really, really hoping that Adriana does really well, perhaps wins the Tournament of Champions, because if she wins the Tournament of Champions, I believe she gets a berth into the next Tournament of Masters, and they can go up against, the big players. So kicks off tonight. If you're watching this, I give you permission to tune out in about 7 minutes, and we'll go up and we'll start the Jeopardy! Tournament of Champions together. So there you go. There's a lot going on here in the Greater Lafayette area. I am not going to get to home tours tonight. I had some cool ones lined up too, but just not enough time to get to them. You've been so generous with your time. But just to recap, Indiana property taxes going up. The Indianapolis Motor Speedway has honored Jay Gephardt of Purdue University. Tippecanoe County has a $25 million grant for new pedestrian bridge and walkways along the Greenway, along the Wabash Heritage Trail, along the Wabash River. The city of Lafayette opened their new $21.5 million public works campus over on McCarty. The West Lafayette City Council is hosting a community meeting for accessory dwelling units. There's Artists' Own Gallery is currently hosting their high school artist show. Our main branch of the post office here in Lafayette over on 26 just debuted a brand new gigantic and expensive sorting machine. Chad Evans, we seem to be saying goodbye to at WLFI. He hasn't told us what's coming next. We wish you all the best, Chad, and know that we love you here on At Lafayette Live, and that the Gooch family loves you, and we look forward to continuing to see you in the community if indeed this is where you wind up staying. The SK Hynix deal has some questionable headwinds in front of it right now. And Adriana Harmeyer is currently on Jeopardy Tournament of Champions. So I will wrap it up there. I'll say thank you so very much for watching. And if you love home here in the Greater Lafayette area, send me a text, 765-413-6190, and let's talk about home here in the Greater Lafayette area. And I will see you next week in February for At Lafayette Live. Have a great week, everybody.